afternoon, everyone, and welcome to E2E Network's webinar on Unstructured Data Processing by George Portillo from ChainFuse. I'm Prajwal, and I'll be your host for the day. This webinar is brought to you by E2E Networks Limited, our mighty empaneled AI first hyperscaler from India. Let me now take a moment to introduce you to our speaker for today, George Portillo. George is an ex-Googler and founder and CEO at ChainFuse, providing unstructured data analytics for CX teams. His innovative vision and extensive tech experience have driven the widespread adoption of blockchain solutions, enhancing security, transparency, and efficiency across industries. Now, on to the main event. George, over to you now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the introduction, Prajwal. And hi, I'm George Portillo, CEO at ChainFuse, and today I'm going to show you how you can use the power of unstructured data for the success of your business. This is a highly interactive presentation, so I am very excited to be showing that to you today. Sounds good. Let's dive in. So this presentation is about discovering issues and opportunities with LLMs. This is the agenda. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to talk about what is unstructured data. I'm going to talk about the problem, a solution, and I'm going to give you all some secret sauce. I'm also going to be talking about the user journey and how it is extremely impactful for you to leverage the user journey for your success, and some final thoughts. As I mentioned, I'm an ex-Googler. I built the cloud.google.com homepage. I also built their V1 of their chatbot NLP intake for sales and support. And so I quit to build chainfuse.com, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. What is unstructured data? Unstructured data is diverse, free-form information like text, images, videos, and they lack a predefined format. Usually they're not stored under your influence, and it holds massive untapped potential for its insights and innovation. So here are some examples of unstructured data. So you have a Discord message, you have a Telegram message, you have a Twitter thread, a G2 review, a Trustpilot review, you have, John Oliver's video, right? That is unstructured data. You have system events, you have integrated events. All of these different parts of aspects of data are out there. Sometimes they're external, sometimes they're internal, but there is no good way to leverage and unify all of this data into the success of your business. And that's what I'm going to show, how you can start unifying all of that data today. The problem is that unstructured data is growing 3 times faster than structured data. And teams miss the vast majority of high stakes unstructured user feedback. So 80% of all the data out there is unstructured. 40% is manually reviewed into valuable information, and less than 10% is actually stored and analyzed. So it's there's huge amounts of data, but we're not doing a good job at analyzing it, storing it, and putting it to use. Data silos destroyed great customer experiences. This is Jeff Lawson. He's the co-founder of Portillo, and I couldn't agree more with this statement. At this point, the vast majority of businesses do not have a grasp on their data silos. And here's a hot take. You cannot say you make data-driven decisions if you are not tapping into the power of unstructured data. I really believe there's so much out there. There's so much more than what you're collecting through your forms or through your spreadsheets. And I honestly believe in this hot take. I don't think you can say you make data-driven decisions if you're not tapping into the power of this. Filling out contact forms and surveys, as one of our previous presenters mentioned in one of our live events, can damage customer experience, and things have evolved. Most feedback is unstructured in nature, and there's so much data around you already that you can just go out and get on your own. A solution to this problem, and note how I said a solution. With this presentation, I'm hoping that you can also build your own solutions, but I want to show you an example of what a solution looks like, ChainFuse, to give you a glimpse and an idea on how we approach solving this problem. ChainFuse is the easiest way to visualize the voice of your customer. And here's an analogy of what we do. This is your business, and this is you. And this is the ever-flowing, ever-growing, ever-evolving river of data. And what we do at ChainFuse is we give you the equivalent of fishing nets to catch the type of data that you want and send that back into your business so that you can do something about it. In essence, this is the problem. As I mentioned, 80% of all data is unstructured, less than 10% is stored and analyzed. We bring that number up to 99% of unstructured data made into actionable, analyzed, and tagged information. And we also help teams become proactive instead of being reactive. And here's an example of what that means, but there's also a screenshot of our platform. This is what it looks like. This is real. This is also one of our customers, Cloudflare, and they're using ChainFuse to detect product issues, user pains, feature requests, leads, user concerns, and many others. Like I mentioned, we have given them the fishing nets so that they can catch the type of data that you want, ultimately visualizing it, and then eventually doing something about it. Our vision for the future is to create an AI out of the data that tells compelling stories with ChainFuse, right? So we help you gather all that data, but eventually we are working towards a mechanism to do the queries, to do the vector searches, to put it all together in one specific, LLM call potentially, create the array of objects that it needs in order for it to animate and essentially explain to you what is happening with your data. So if you go to ChainFuse and you say, hey, ChainFuse, why are we churning users? Or why are our users leaving? Our hope is that AI in the future will be so advanced that it will be able just to paint a picture for you. It will be able to tell you a story. So that's what we're working towards. And I think that will be extremely compelling for many people out there, many businesses out there. Okay, so what have we detected? And let's focus on just one user, one example that I believe will make it compelling as to why you should focus on unstructured data. So check this out. This is a user on Discord. They're looking to switch from Google to Cloudflare. They're spending $20,000 a month, and they're looking for pricing. All of this is inside of that message, right? This is a detected opportunity, right? Like you should be engaging this person. But what happens? What happens is that messages like these get lost in the noise. You're not going to find this message if you're not actively looking and reading through every single message, which, trust me, many people have tried, and I've tried. It's impossible. There's too much data going on in too many channels, and there's no way for us to really catch everything. And as a cause of that, things fall through the cracks. So they get lost. They fall through the cracks, and ultimately, the tool that we built caught that message. And now we're catching messages like that. And we're working on a notification system to tell the go-to-market teams, tell the market teams that they should be engaging those high-stake users, right? So being proactive and not being reactive is the main takeaway. And here's an example of what I mean. Here, let's take a look at what a reactive flow looks like, okay? So let's say that you have a high-stake message coming in from a paying user. Let's say that they're spending $1 million a month on your business. It's a complaint. They're like, hey, like I have an issue and, I can't do anything. My website has been down for 2 hours, right? So, okay, well, that's very bad. We don't want that user to go out into the media or Twitter and start posting this out there, right? So in a reactive flow, the user goes on and makes that complaint. X amount of time passes by. Ultimately, your boss finds it. Your boss notifies you, and then this is you, right? You're gonna be stressed out about it. I was like, oh man, like, okay, well, how long did this happen? Like, what can we do? Is there a ticket for this? All of these things that happen reactively and not proactively. So what a proactive flow looks like is the same message comes in. It's a complaint. ChainFuse detects that message, it tags it, and notifies you. It tags it as a PR crisis worthy message, and then it sends an email to you and the PR team potentially. And even though this is still you, okay, I'm still gonna be a bit stressed because, oh well, this is a paying user that is having an issue. But you shorten the time to resolution. You have that opportunity to shorten the time to resolution. And then ultimately your boss finds it, but you are already on it. And that is champion behavior, right? Don't wait to be reactive, be proactive and do something about it the moment it comes in. And that will make a huge difference for you and your business. And it all leverages the power of unstructured data. Even if they come on their own, lack of support will push your users out. Even if sales brings them in, lack of support will push them out. Even if they're already paying you, lack of support will push them out. And one more thing, don't just make it right, make it better. And here's an example. Pizza. Okay. So bear with me. I order a pizza. I got the wrong pizza. I was pissed and I drove all the way back to the pizza place. I told the lady that they got my order wrong. And then the lady proceeded then to punch me in the face. Just kidding. The lady let me keep the pizza. She gave me the pizza I wanted for free. She refunded me for the pizza that I had already paid for. And then she gave me a coupon for a free pizza. I mean, that's a lot, right? Like, that is wow. I mean, you gave me a free pizza and you gave me the one I wanted for free. You refunded me for it. And then you gave me a coupon. That's crazy. That's so much. But here's the main takeaway from this, right? A main takeaway. It has been over 10 years since this interaction happened to me. And I have brought over 100 pizzas, more than 100 pizzas ever since. This happened 10 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And that is the power of not just making things right, but making them better. Because when you do that, you prevent churn. And in this case, churn was prevented excellently by the lady who initially made a mistake and then made it better, right? I would even go as far as saying that turning a negative interaction into a positive interaction is much more impactful than just providing a positive experience, because it shows customers that your business can make things right and that your business can make things better. And that is something you cannot buy with money. Takeaway, and this is actual science here, customer spending increases by up to 140% following a positive experience. And like I mentioned, turning a negative experience into a positive experience is even more impactful than this. Don't just make it right, make it better. So how did we do it? And I'm going to share with you a bit of our secret sauce with you today. And I want you to leave this webinar, leave this presentation armed with what you need so that you can start leveraging this data, all of this unstructured data, for the benefit and the success of your business. Our tech stack is on Cloud for Workers. We use Cloud for Workers for analyzing the text. We use Cloud for Workers for vector databases, for deduplicating the issues and RAG mechanisms, as well as using Cloudflare's AI mechanism for us calling 73 plus Hugging Face models at our disposal. They're an excellent design partner. They're an excellent customer, and we use their technology to make all of this happen. So this is how you identify sales opportunities, churn, and beyond with LLMs. So before we dive into that, there are, from my perspective, there are two types of messages: individual messages and threads. Individual messages are Discord messages, Slack messages, pieces of text, screenshots. Threads are Twitter threads, tickets on Jira, Discord threads, Slack message replies, things that have a common parent and a common topic. And a simple and effective flow for you to apply within your business is, first, you find a data source. From that data source, you extract every single individual message. And if you can, in real time, you can use LLMs to detect the intent. What type of message is this? Tagging the message, extracting the keywords, determining sentiment, proposing solutions, so that ultimately you can perform an action and do something about that individual message. And what I'm going to show you right now is several compelling scenarios on how you can put this 1, 2, 3 flow to work for the success of your business. So this is how you detect an opportunity or a lead. If a user goes on Discord or Twitter and says, hey, I'm looking to switch from, just like the example I gave previously, or if the user says, I'm looking for pricing, we're spending X dollar amount, I'm a pro user, I'm looking for help, or thinking of upgrading too, right? These are just 5 examples of a something that could be or sounds or is an opportunity or a lead. You can then use LLMs to tag that message. You can tag it as a lead. You can tag it as a paying customer, an X dollar amount, business goal, a KPI, and ultimately send an email to the sales team so that they can send or, at least engage that person, get them the support that they need so that they can start paying you and convert into a paid customer, spend more for your platform, on your platform, and create more revenue for you. Here's also how you detect churn and dissatisfaction. If someone goes into your Discord and says, hey, I'm paying too much, support really sucks. 4+ days of downtime, no answer. That is real, by the way. Not imagine. What you should do is using LLMs, you can tag that message as a churn high risk, bad support, lost user, and ultimately send an alert to the support team or eventually create organizational changes. This is how you detect new users. Hey, all, I'm new here. Or we created an account. I made my first ticket, right? You can assign tags. You can assign a tag of new user, onboarded, and ultimately visualize it on a dashboard and measure against KPIs. Detecting products. This one's really interesting because instead of you defining the tags, you're asking the LLM to come up with a tag for you. And in this case, the tag that it will come up with is the name of the product that the user might be having an opportunity or an issue with. So for example, in the case of Microsoft products, hey, I tried your new browser, or OneDrive is taking a bit longer to load. You can use LLMs to come up with a tag and essentially say, hey, LLM, every single time that a product is mentioned, can you just tag it as that product name? And then eventually send notifications to PMs or create a healthy org habit to review feedback weekly, monthly, quarterly. You just need to make sure you're reviewing all this feedback regularly so that you can reap the benefits of doing all that analysis, and essentially find opportunities within the data or fix issues that people are encountering the most. This is how you detect malicious actors. Someone goes in and says, click this link to verify, or like, how do you handle security? Or someone saying, can you disable the two-factor authentication? Like those messages are sketchy, right? So using LLMs, you can tag that message as a bad actor, as a phishing, a warning, a scam alert, and ultimately you can notify the security team or add an alert emoji to that message and let users know that they should proceed with caution because that message could be negative for them. It could be a phishing, right? Like they could steal your information. So out of unstructured data, right? Like you have so much that you can categorize and catch using this 1, 2, 3 mechanism. You can scale it to infinity. And here are 15 scenarios that, I admit I generated with AI, but you can catch competitor mentions, you can catch subscription changes or satisfaction with support, security concerns. And we have added all of this to ChainFuse, but now you can too. Because what matters to me is your growth, that you have an idea on how to leverage this technology, the paradigm that I shared with you for the success of your business. I want you to be successful. I don't even mind. Honestly, I don't care if you ever use ChainFuse, as long as you know how to think about leveraging this technology and the 1 to 3 step flow for your own success. Now, the true power of unstructured data lies in mapping the user journey. And the devil is in the details. If you're reading between the lines, you will find so much rich content that will tell you even more about, not just the surface, but also the intent of the user. And I'm going to show you a very visual example of what I mean. So think about it this way. You have a Discord community and a user comes in and that user says, hey guys, I'm new here. I'm super excited to learn. And this happens on July 20th. This new user, right? You can use LLMs to tag it as a net new user under a growth category, or you can tag it also by the date that it joined, that this user joined under the user category. For that user, you're learning something about that user. And that goes into the user journey, right? On July 20th, this is a net new user and it joined on this day. Oh, looks like the dates are wrong, but You get the point. Um, July 23. So I tried the product for the first time, but I had issues with activating it on my site. So very interesting, right? We can take this message and tag it as under a category of growth, saying that they onboard it. But this user didn't tell you, hey, I onboarded, right? They're not explicit like that. No one is. But because they tried your product for the first time, that means that they signed up for your service. And if they signed up for your service, that means that they filled out the onboarding form and that onboarding flow that you created. So therefore, this user onboarded. And no, they didn't tell you that they onboarded. They simply told you that they tried your product. So therefore, the LLM would be able to make that assumption and say, hey, I want to tag this as an onboarded user. But also, this user is having issues with your product, right? So you can tag it as a under the issue of under the category of issue, and essentially give some context as to, hey, this user is having problems with X product activation. So you put that on the timeline. On July 26th, this user, I tried upgrading to Pro because I keep hitting limits, but the form is broken. Now, this is a good thing, right? Well, not entirely, but it's a good thing that this user is thinking about converting, right? So this is a positive signal. You can categorize it under conversion, under the growth category, but this user is trying to pay you and they can't, and you are leaving money on the table. So that means that you can tag this message as an issue and you can give context saying, hey, this user is having a problem with the upgrade system, and therefore trigger an alert, a notification to the engineering team that they should be doing something about this bug, or that they should at the very least see if they can reproduce it on their end. Okay. On July 30th, 4 days later, the user says, I contacted support a few days ago, but no one is helping me. It's been 4 days. Now this user is at risk of churning. So the LLM would be able to catch that, tag it as churn, and then send a notification to the support team that they should really get on this right now because the user is getting impatient. If you have 4+ days of non-resolution, you're not doing well, right? Users expect an answer at the very least within the first 4 hours, at most within a day. If you're taking 4 days to answer, you really need to turn your reactiveness into proactiveness and really leverage the power of LLMs and AI to help you accomplish that. In this case, in this particular scenario, you can tag the message as churn and send a notification to the support team. On July 31st, the next day, the user says, I finally got support. I was able to upgrade and they gave me free credits for the trouble. Well, you were able to make things right. You were able to make things better. And now you can tag that message as a user converted. Great. But also, you did something very unique. You were able to resolve the issue and you were able to prevent the churn because you finally acted on it. You could have, shortened that time to resolution window, but matters in the end is that you get it done, right? Just get it done. And now you prevented churn and you made some money. Good job. And now this is a visualized example of a user's journey from start to issue to resolution. Now imagine if you had a user journey for every single person in your community. What would you find? And yes, not everyone is comfortable with being tracked, and the user can and should be able to opt out of this type of tracking. But here are some sources. 76% of customers expect personalization. 6 in 10 consumers believe that businesses should use the data that they collect about them to personalize experiences. And 6 in 10 consumers notice and appreciate when they receive personalized recommendations. So I say that you can track them, but serve them and make them happy. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. So summaries and takeaways. This data is already out there. It's already on G2. It's already on Trustpilot. It's already on Reddit, right? It's on Facebook. It's on Telegram. It's on Discord. So this data is already out there for you to go out and analyze. Be proactive, not reactive. Don't just make it right, make it better. Use LLMs to categorize unstructured data, visualize the user's journey, and use data to personalize experiences. our movement, or at least in this movement that I'm trying to create, right? What makes you think you can start a movement around this, George? Well, we are just 3 people in my team, and we're trying to tackle this monumental problem happening industry wide. But I'm gonna scratch that. We were just 3 people trying to tackle this monumental problem and happening industry wide, because now it's not just 3. Now you can be part of this movement simply by being here today, ready to make a difference. Our goals for this movement are no more lost data. If you have an unmanageable community on Discord, on Twitter, if there's no way for you to manage all of that data, don't throw the whole thing away, right? Do something about it. Implement LLMs. Use AI to help you understand what's happening. Don't lose all of that data. Don't just stop. And we've seen companies do this. They get overwhelmed and they're like, okay, we're not doing Discord anymore. No, that is not the right approach to do this. Use the technology you have available and no more lost data. Unify data silos. So if you have Discord and Twitter, you have G2 or Trustpilot, unify all of that into one single place so that you can then use further AI analysis to find the types of messages that you need so that you can make better decisions for your products. Feel and visualize the voice of the customer, make things right and make them better, and let's grow together, right? So those would be the goals that I'm proposing for this movement so that we can all grow together and continue to leverage the technology for the success of our businesses. This movement is for those eager to harness a network of people and data to boost customer success. So if you're in San Francisco, we are gonna have a meetup on August, actually it's on August 14th, but you can scan this QR code here if you live in San Francisco. You can come in and, we're going to be at Join the Juice, and many people from the CX industry are going to come, and we're going to do personal lightning talks, and we're also going to do a bit of networking. Some final thoughts. This potential, the potential of unstructured data, is really all at your fingertips right now. Help your team grasp and wield the power of unstructured data. There are $1 million opportunities waiting to be discovered, and it all starts with you. Thank you so much for attending. Here's my LinkedIn. This is our Discord. This is our presentation. You can scan this QR code for this presentation. And if anyone out there is an angel investor, we're fundraising. So definitely let's chat. And we can go into more detail as to, what we're doing, how we're doing it, what clients we have. And if you scan this presentation, there are a few more slides that go a little bit more in technical about Web3. They talk about vector databases. So make sure you scan this QR code for this presentation and see the extra content that I've added. But thank you so much for having me. And I would love to, turn it back and see if there are any questions. What kind of expertise is expected to use this product? So expertise, honestly, we're not a coding tool. We're not we don't ask you to write any code. You can do this all visually. And as a matter of fact, I can show you what it looks like right now. So let me go ahead and share my screen one more time. And this is our product right here. This is Cloudflare. And we are activated on them. We have been activated for the past 7 months, and we've gathered, so many instances of broken documentation, paying customers, right? All of the first 5 categories that we've created here, those are the ones that come prepackaged with ChainFuse. The other ones, they went on their own and they threw that fishing net into the river of data. And now we're helping them catch exactly the type of information that they want. So the only expertise that you need really is just language, because in order for you to throw that net into the river of data, the equivalent of that is creating a category. So you can go into creating a category, and if you want to catch, for example, every single time, to be fun, right? Every cat mention, right? Okay, well, every cat mention is the name of the category, and you can auto collect data, and you can say anytime the word cat is mentioned, tag this, message tag this message. And you can also determine which tags you want to, tag it. You can do Siamese tag, or you can do like, I don't know, or like Norwegian cat, right? Like, and essentially you submit it, and that's really all you do. You don't need to learn how to code. You can just simply go in, tell it the name of the category, what the type of data that you want to catch, and that's it. You set it, you throw the net, and now you are going to be catching that type of information. So no coding required, no expertise required. Really, it's just bring your creativity, and pretty much, yeah, the sky's the limit once you have a lot of data flowing in. I hope that answers your question, Indranil. Uh, any other questions from the chat? Thank you. I'm glad. Okay, so I guess we'll give folks a few more minutes if they want to type a question. More than happy to continue the conversation. But I can also show a little bit more in depth as to how we visualize this data, and this is how we're doing it right here. So ultimately, out of all that data, we're doing sentiment analysis, we're doing breakdowns, right? And we let you see each individual message and which tags were assigned, which products were assigned, and just give you that complete breakdown of the tagging mechanism that we built. So very visual, definitely working towards the ability for us to do storytelling with the application. I'm going to stop the sharing here again. Just wait for any other questions that you might have. And if not, Prachwal, that maybe a good time to do an outro here. Can I use it for customer discovery? So uh, right now, we only work within the data silos that you have control of. So if you have a Discord, you can connect to your own Discord because you can give the permissions for us to add our bot and then continue to gather all that information. So, but we are working on ways to leverage external APIs to do customer discovery. So on Telegram, you have a lot of crypto communities always active. What we could do is we could work with those communities, add our bot to it, and then eventually do the equivalent of the phishing net, but for those communities that are not under your control. Or maybe it's Reddit, maybe it's Twitter, maybe it's a chat somewhere, right? So we are actively working on ways to just expand our reach into other communities that you might not be part of, but that you want to listen to, and essentially throw your own category, your own phishing net, and start receiving all that data, right? So you could create a category of users that say or that imply that they would use a specific type of product. And that is how you could discover users and eventually get a notification for that user. And then say in the notification, you would receive, hey, this user might be interested in using a product like yours. Go and engage them on Reddit, right? So that is the capability, or one of the capabilities that we're working really hard towards. We don't have that yet, but we already have a prototype on how we can actually listen to this data already out there to do exactly what you mentioned, Deepali. So I hope that answers your question, and thank you for your question. Awesome. So I guess maybe we'll have two more questions, or maybe one more question, and if not, then yeah. Okay, looks like we might be They're in the end, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure if there are any questions.
yeah. So a heartfelt thank you, George, for this insightful session, and a big round of applause for all of you who joined us today and participated so actively. Before you leave, we are eager to hear your feedback on today's session. Please take a moment to fill out our quick NPS survey. Your responses are incredibly valuable and will help us improve our future webinars. E2E Networks Limited is the leading AI first hyperscaler from India, focusing on providing advanced cloud GPU infrastructure. We lead the industry as a prominent cloud provider, GPU provider, offering a comprehensive range of NVIDIA GPUs, including the HGX H100, A100, L40S, L4, A40, V100, and T4S. To know more about us, you can check out our website, a2enetworks.com, or if you want to get your hands on of one of our GPUs, you can sign up at my E2E Networks, e2enetworks.com. And
Awesome, Prachwal. So, guess we're nearing the end of the presentation, but
yeah,
oh, we have one more question. Can we capture languages other than English? Yes, we can do that. Yeah. We're working on the V2 mechanism of what we have. And in that, we'll let you select the language in which you want to operate in and categorize all the information. So we're going to be launching this V2 next month, so mid next month. So well, if you sign up right now, you'll be able to connect your Discord, but in the V2, you'll be able to do all of that within your data space settings. So yeah, we're only 3 people, and we're moving as fast as we can, but we'll get it done.
the session was very good, and I'm really happy for you for making your time for us.
No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And like I mentioned, here's my LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect and give you any further advice if you need to. Happy to take some time and yeah, just see how we can support each other's success. So thank you
Sure,
all for
definitely.
coming. Really appreciate it. It's my pleasure. Thank you again for having me.